Welcome back everyone to the video series dedicated to CBS's Big Brother Season 22 All-Stars. Now, just like my previous videos, I'm going to give a review and recap on the most recent episode of Big Brother, and then I'll be going into live feed updates, giving a hand signal. So let's start off where last episode left off, and that was Dani nominating both Kevin and David for this week, and everyone's feeling good about those noms except for David and Kevin and Devon. And David really doesn't like it because we know he has the Disruptor Power and he's going to use it. We see him trying to conjure up some fake tears. He's trying to pass this off like it was played for him by somebody else and not himself. Not a great strategy if I do say so myself. Well, he decides to use it. They're called into the dining room and he is taken off the block. He is emotional. He is showing everybody that he's emotional. And then Dani has to be put on the spot and put somebody else up on the block. And she decides to put up Tyler. So now it's Tyler and Kevin up on the block, and David is really trying to sell this thing by asking like Cody and Devon and Kevin about if they used it on them. And Devon has the perfect response in the DR saying like, nobody wants to save you. Like, you have to be like completely aware of like your surroundings and your game and really just own the fact that you won it yourself. Be proud of that, because it's not going to take a target off of your back that you're saying that somebody else used it on you. People are already coming after you because you're not in their alliances or one of their 12 alliances that somebody is in. So I feel as though that David should have just been like, I won it, I did it, and then he could tell the funny story about how he was like fumbling around in all that mess and pushing people aside and really fitting that thing in, and then his celebration. I think he should have embraced it. It's not going to put a bigger target on your back because they're already gunning for him and his side of the house with Kevin and Devon. But now Tyler is put up on the block, and Dani is trying to do damage control with everybody, with Cody, Enzo, and Tyler all together. But Tyler's pretty pissed, and I mean, he's up on the block. Yeah, of course he's going to be mad. But he can save himself with the veto. And speaking of the veto, we get to the people playing in the veto, and the players picked were Dani, Tyler, Kevin, Devon, Enzo, and Ian. And this veto competition is called Microbrews. And before this even began, they were doing like fanfare and reaching into their production budget by bringing out this like shrink ray and shooting the contestants with it. And then they were put into what is pretty much the BB basement slash the safety suite area, that room, and they are having to play this veto competition called Microbrews, where they have to stack 15 mini cans in a pyramid, and the first person to do this wins the mini veto, which has all the power of a regular veto. It's just mini. And let me tell you right now, I thought this was a very fun veto. It was a very fun veto to watch. It was funny to see these people drop all their cans, be really close, about to be winning it, and then all of a sudden they just like hit it just ever so slightly and the cans fall off. I think it was really fun to watch. It was a great way that they shot it. I thought it was just really, really great. Personally, I would have hated playing in that veto competition, especially if I was on the block. I would be feeling so much pressure, so much stress. I don't have a steady hand whatsoever, so this would have been terrible for me. And when it comes down to it, Devon pulls out this win, her first win ever in Big Brother, and it couldn't have come at a better time, as David is safe for the week. He can't put it backdoored or put on the block again because of his superpower, and her having this veto, she can use it on Kevin, save him from the block, save her because she won the veto, and forcing Dani to put up somebody else that she's aligned with, somebody else on the other side of the house, and giving Kevin, Devon, and David a chance to play in the next HOH competition where they could win and then put up another couple of people on the other side next week. This is the perfect chance. I mean, Kevin was really hoping to win it himself, and I get that, but Devon winning it is pretty much the best case scenario because now she couldn't have been put up after Kevin was taken off. But before we get into all that, before Devon even used the veto, Cody, Dani, and Nicole were scrambling. They want the nominations to stay the same because Kevin would be the easy boot. They can keep Tyler in the game. They are telling Kevin that he is totally safe. Like, they want to make Kevin feel safe. They want Devon to feel like Kevin is safe. So they're just telling him what he wants to hear no matter what, when that's not the case, and they're going to get blindsided on Thursday if Devon never used the veto. Well, guess what? Devon has a mind of her own. She knows exactly what she wants to do. She knows exactly how the house is divided, and she knows Kevin is never coming after her and is 100% on her side, where everyone else is a fair weather Big Brother player who, just because I'm in power this week, you're cool, but come next week, you're gone with somebody else that you think you're cool with. So Devon does the absolute perfect thing, takes Kevin off, and Dani is now put in a spot where she has to put up Ian. And this is a weird, like, renom speech that she's doing. I don't know what she's trying to do with this by saying, oh, I'm gonna put up the ultimate pawn. I guess she's just saving herself, saying like, oh, well, I can't vote, so if I put up somebody else and say this is my plan, but it doesn't happen that way, no blood on my hands. Well, you put Ian up. So you putting Ian up as the ultimate pawn doesn't help anything when his butt is walking out this door on Thursday. But that is it for this episode. What do you think about everything that happened? Let me know that in the comment section below. But now we're heading into live feed updates, and we're going into the live feeds, and there's really nothing to spoil. The only thing I really have to say is that since the veto ceremony, Cody has been in a very piss poor mood. He's been talking to Enzo, bad-mouthing Dani, Devon, everybody. Everything that happened in this week, he is blaming completely on them, saying that Dani got too cute with not wanting to put Devon up originally and all this other stuff. Cody, calm down. You still have 15 other people in the house that are like on your side. Just because one week doesn't go exactly how you wanted it to go doesn't mean the end of the world. Get over it. This is the game, and just roll with the punches, bro. We saw Nicole sad because her quote-unquote friend Ian is up on the block from the episode, but ultimately she's just upset because she wants to make sure that Ian is going to get at least 2 votes. She wants to vote for Ian to stay in the house just because it's like a pity thing, he's my friend type of thing, but Dani doesn't want her to do that. Dani originally doesn't want Nicole at all to vote for Ian to stay because the sole fact that Devon, David, and Kevin might vote to keep Ian in the game, and if Nicole does that, then it leaves a 4-4 tie, leaving Dani to make the deciding vote, and she really wants to get Tyler out, but the rest of the committee, if she does vote to get Tyler out, may want to come after her. So there's a lot of like up in the air kind of stuff. Earlier in the week, she's telling her you can't vote for him. Nicole really wants to vote to keep Ian in just so he doesn't feel like it's a unanimous vote against him, and she wants to keep his jury vote with her, if that makes any sense. Like, hey, if I don't vote for him, then he's not going to want to vote for me because it's going to seem like a very big betrayal. Hey, it's your game. You do what you want to do, Nicole, but don't let somebody dictate if you don't want to vote that way. She's hoping that Kevin or David vote to keep Ian in the game, and then she wants to use that to say like, oh, I voted for you. David must have flipped or something like that. It's really disgusting. It's really stupid. It's like, just vote for who you want to vote. Dani and Nicole now, later on as the week progresses, are thinking we want to keep Ian in the game more. We trust Ian more than we can trust Tyler. Tyler's kind of throwing out names, throwing out Dani's name, and they're also nervous when Tyler's in the house with Cody because they feel as though they can't trust Cody as much in the game with Tyler in the game as well. So they're trying to figure out a way of who to flip so then it's a 5-3 vote and it doesn't come down to Dani having to make the tiebreaker vote. She wants somebody else to flip so that Devon, David, Kevin, Nicole, and one of the other people can flip so that it's at least a 5-3 vote to keep Ian in the game and Tyler is out of this game because Tyler's a huge threat. The problem is Tyler has a final 2 with like pretty much everybody in the house, and Christmas will never vote to take Tyler out of this game. Cody and Enzo won't because they have a final 3 alliance with them, and Memphis hates Ian to like unjustifiably hates Ian and wants Ian out of this game no matter what. So that's going to be 4 solid votes to keep Tyler in no matter what, and I think that's going to be the saving grace for Tyler this week because Dani doesn't want to put more bloodshed on her hands, and at this point in this game, if you want something done, you probably have to do it yourself. So That's the thing. If Dani doesn't want to put blood on her hands, well, guess what? Tyler's going to stay in this house another week. But that is it for this episode, as we're waiting for Thursday for the live eviction to see who's going to be sent home. Right now, it's Ian. Maybe something could change in the next day, but we'll have to wait and see. What do you think about everything that's going on? Let me know that in the comment section below. If you had to vote whether you want to take Ian or Tyler out of the game, who would you vote for? Would you vote Tyler out of this game because he's a bigger threat, or would you vote Ian? Let me know that in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be back really soon with more Big Brother content, more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.